welcome to the Thanksgiving last episode before Thanksgiving episode of the Four Piece Podcast. Today I have an individual that is going to be on our show that is from my home city of Buffalo, New York. This individual is an individual who, I saw him when I was younger, and obviously he was much younger. He was a child who used to go to my father's skating rink, and now to see him today, you are going to really enjoy his story. You're going to enjoy what he does, and you're going to enjoy what he wants to do. We'll be right back right after this.
Do you have the next big thing? That world-changing whatchamacallit? Do you have a story to tell? You need a show-stopping web presence. You need the web spinners at Webining. With big picture solutions, spinning together SEO, stellar web design, blogging, podcasts, and social media integrations, you'll find yourself developing your latest and greatest thing, idea, or telling that next chapter in your story. Look us up today at webining.com, and remember, you're not everywhere unless you're Webining.
Welcome back to today's episode of the Four Piece Podcast. This is the Thanksgiving week episode. And you know what? I'm going back home. I am talking to Luwi Smith today. Luwi Smith is from Buffalo, New York. He's a guy that I knew back when he was very young. He came to my father's skating rink. He was just a young kid, and now he has grown up to become an adult who is really doing a great service to the city of Buffalo in Western New York. He is really showing young entrepreneurs and opportunities, giving them away. And he's young himself. He's very young. Like I said, he was a young kid back when I knew him. When I used to go visit my father, I used to see him skating around, and I kid you not, he was, as they say, old people say, he was knee high to a grasshopper. Not anymore. He's much bigger than I am, but what can you do at 5'7", barely? I don't know how many people are not taller than I am. So there you go. But anyway, Luwi Smith is going to be on the air in a couple seconds. He's going to be talking about entrepreneurship. He's going to be talking about what he is doing in the community to make Buffalo a better place. We'll be right back right after this. I want to thank you for your continued support on the Four Piece Podcast. This podcast is growing every single day. And just recently, I found out that there is an autonomous region in the English Channel named Jersey. And the reason why I found out that there's this region is because there are people listening to the podcast in that area. And I want to thank you so much for your support. If you enjoy the Four Ps podcast and you enjoy stories similar to the ones you hear on the podcast, you will love the book, The Four Ps of You. The Four Ps of You is a collection of stories that deal with those four Ps, and those Ps are purpose, planning, passion, and persistence. These are a great way to build that foundation and go forward in planning life and finding your meaning and finding your purpose. That is the Four Ps of You. It is available on Amazon. It is available at Barnes & Noble here in the United States. It is also available at Chapters and Indigo Bookstore in Canada. It is available in the UK. It is available all around the world. You can find it. And you know what? I'm going to make sure that it is in Jersey. That is the Four Ps of You. Please get it. Please read it. And thank you for your continued support. Welcome back to the Four Ps Podcast. I love Buffalo, New York, and I love the community. I'll always be a Buffalonian in my heart of hearts. My father had a skating rink in Buffalo, New York called New Skateland, and my extended family, and what I mean by extended family, I'm not saying Goggins' last name or whatever, or even bloodline. My extended family was on the east side of Buffalo, and it really was. It was the east side of Buffalo. I grew up with so many people who, became brothers, sisters, cousins, you name it. They were all there. And as I'm older, I'm 53 years old, and now I see those people who I grew up with, now they have children and grown children of their own. And one of those grown children that I met, and I talked about a little bit more, a little bit before in the last segment, his name is Luwi Smith. Now, Luwi, he comes from, from Skateland, comes from a great family, still lives in Buffalo. And now, not only is he a pillar of his community at such a young age, he is now the next generation. One thing about Buffalo is the wealth of mom and pop and entrepreneurial businesses. And this young man, I saw him back in June of 2024. And this young man has done nothing but impress me with his entrepreneurship and his innovation and his thinking outside the box. Luwi Smith, Buffalo, you know what I love about this? I know that no one can see this right now. We will be going video again after I fix my studio because Hurricane Helene just totally jacked it up. But once we go video again, you guys can't see him, but he has got a Buffalo Bills hat on and he's got a Josh Allen jersey on, and I love it. And here I am sitting here today with a Toronto Argos sweatshirt. We are so regional, man. We are right there doing our Great Lakes thing today. Luwi, welcome to the program. How are you doing today?
Hey, how are you doing? I'm doing great. And yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. We could talk. I know we could talk football, but we're not going to talk about that today. We could talk about that all day long, and it's really nice. And this is this is like the second time in my lifetime, but this is the first time probably in your lifetime that the Buffalo Bills are actually 8-2 in a season.
Very first.
And it's that right there just kills me. Right? I love that. Now, last time they were 8-2, they went to the Super Bowl and they broke my heart big time. So let's not do that again. All right. Let's try to do it and win the whole thing. Of course, I've been saying that for the last 50 years. But Luwi, tell us about what you are doing. You are doing something very unique in Buffalo. Tell us what it is.
So as of right now, I have 3 businesses open. One is LaFran Graphics. That's my marketing and media company. The second is what would you call it, a non-profit organization called Oasis Artist Collab. And the third is called Pop Out Enigma. With Pop Out Enigma, what I'm doing is I'm allowing people to have a brick and mortar for only $23 an hour. I'm also bringing in classes. I want to teach the language. I'm also starting a sign language class. What else am I doing? There's a lot going on at once.
That is fantastic. And what is the purpose behind Pop Out Enigma? I know it is unique with people coming in for $23 an hour. They get a pop-up. Is this sort of like a space sharing or office sharing situation, or is it different?
So the difference with it is you can say it's like an incubator. It's also kind of like what you said, a shared space. But the difference is it's one full store for the client. It's a blank canvas where they could come in and they can build it to however they like. They don't have to share the space and stand shoulder to shoulder with anyone. They can take the store and make it whatever they want. If they want it as a clothing store, if they want to do content, if they want to do it as a knick-knack store, things like that. They have the opportunity to make it their own.
That is fantastic. So you're utilizing brick and mortar and the technology, internet, and all that stuff to kind of merge something and give an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur that may not have the capital to go out and do what they have to do as they grow. How has it been received in Buffalo?
So far, ups and downs, but in the beginning, it was unbelievable, I want to say. No one believed it. Everyone thought it was a scam. Everybody was like, what's the catch? I'm like, I just want everybody to succeed. I had to do my business online with LaFran Graphics, the marketing. I just did everything online. I couldn't afford the brick and mortar, and I didn't know the ins and outs of it. So I'm a big believer in order to learn something, you also have to do it. You can't just read it in a book. You can't go to school and study it. You have to also put a percentage of actually doing it and trying it out. So with this opportunity, you don't have to worry about a leash. You don't have to worry about month to month, or anything else. I have insurance. I have the building, and it's just $23 an hour. It's you come in, you can choose from 1 hour to 23 hours or 24 if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's breakdown, build up, and breakdown.
That is beautiful. That is a great concept. It's a unique concept. I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of it before, but I do know that it's very, very successful in your area. You're over on the west side of Buffalo. Is that correct?
Yes, 878 Niagara Street, Buffalo, New York.
You know, now I'm going to get into a little bit of the personal side. What has driven you to be an entrepreneur?
This is something I always say, and it's funny. My failures or the lack of. I believe all inventors invented things because they didn't have it,
Mm-hmm.
or they couldn't buy the closest thing to what they wanted. So they went out and made it. So the same thing with me. This service or what I have now, I didn't have growing up. I didn't have it, or it wasn't an opportunity for me when I first started my business. So I started giving marketing. I started giving, or I couldn't afford it. It was available, but I couldn't afford it.
Okay.
I wanted to give the people who can't afford the high rate or the high end things an opportunity to have it. It's a way to just give back to the community and make sure everyone has a chance.
That is great. You know, speaking about everyone has a chance, I know a couple weeks ago it was actually a lot of weeks ago now, man, this time is moving fast. You were actually giving out school supplies. Yes. to the local kids who were in need of school supplies. What makes you, I mean, you're a young man, you know, you could be out there doing some real, I mean, I remember when I was a little bit younger than you, but I remember around your age, I was out, you know, I mean, you know, the family I come from and we partied a lot. And so I was out having fun and doing things for myself, being pretty much self-centered, if you will. Here you are, you're a married man. You recognize that there are needs in the community and you are absolutely trying to fill those needs. You know, going back to this, I mean, that drives you. And I can see that there's a smile on your face when we're talking about it right now. And I know that you said you want to give people the opportunity to have what you did not have at that age. Yeah. How are you going about? How do you get other people? Because I mean, I know you got me on board. How do you get other people to how do you get other people to do what they do?
That's more along the lines of my wife. She's great at that. I don't know how she does it, but pretty much everything is kind of, if you want to be honest, it's kind of built off of my wife. My wife told me when we first got together, we talked about our dreams and it was a big thing. I said, what do you want out of life? Before we decided to take that step further, I wanted to know exactly what did she want out of life in the future, now in the future and everything. How would she want to fix the past as well? The first thing she said was a community center. And my eyes lit up, my smile went big. I was like, are you serious? Like I thought she found a secret diary that I didn't know I wrote. And then she was reading it back to me. So when she said that, one thing about me, I'm bad at doing things for myself. But others, I will go miles and beyond. So for my wife to give her a community center, I'm like, okay. 2 years later, I started the program. I started a nonprofit organization. A year later after that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a building. Okay. Within the months, everyone like, don't do it. I'm like, okay, I got the building. And after that, and to go back to what you said also, you said you never heard of this type of program. The government hasn't either. Just the licenses itself were kind of a loophole. Like it was hard to obtain because there's nothing for it. They wanted to make me an incubator space, but I quite don't qualify as that. They wanted to make it real estate, but I quite don't qualify as that because I'm going hourly. Anything within, I believe it's under 14 hours.
Okay.
It doesn't qualify as not on taxes. So they wanted to make it a venue space. I don't qualify as that. So I just had to basically, to take care of myself, I'm trying to get each and every license to do it. But what drives me is there's so much going on, especially after, COVID? Mm-hmm. After COVID, we've seen so many businesses shut down. And I remember growing up, like you said, Skateland. That was a place when I wasn't at Skateland, I was getting in trouble. So I kind of remember like, okay, go to Skateland, stay out of trouble. Go to the penny candy store, stay out of trouble. Those were my highlights of my life. Those were the happy days that I got to see my mom smile, even though we was going through everything at home. Just seeing my mom at Skateland, big smile on her face was like, this is it. Seeing my mom get the candies. My mom was a big candy person. Seeing my mom get the candy, big smile on my face. Seeing my wife happy now, big smile on my face. Seeing these clients come in, and I want to say clients, but they like family now. Seeing this family come in, because they call me every day, even if they're not trying to rent again. They just like, hey, Louis, how are you doing? Hey, bro, what's going on? And we get into a long conversation. So just building a family, and then I offer the marketing from the frame graphics as well, too, though, for free. So just seeing them grow, and then they all come back and be like, well, if it wasn't for Louis and if it wasn't for this opportunity, I wouldn't have it. So just knowing that the more people I can take out the streets, the better the community would be. And then the more people that have an opportunity here will also go forth and say, okay, this was for me. I like the brick and mortar. Excuse me. They would say, let me go rent or purchase a building. So now we're taking away these abandoned buildings. Now we're bringing more money within Buffalo, and we're taking people off the streets, lowering the violence all the way around.
That's beautiful. I'm going to ask you a question that I ask a lot of young people. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
We spoke about that a while ago, and I've been thinking about that question since then. I've been thinking about that question since then, and I haven't came up with the answer. I was trying to come up with the perfect answer. That was the problem. And then the answer I came up with, true to my heart, was, I can't tell you. I don't know. Because if I can see myself somewhere in 5 years, let's say, for example, I say, $2.3 million in 5 years, straight liquid, then that's not good enough. I would have to then say, okay, let's double that, 3.6. Okay, no. Okay, that and property. Okay, no, it will continuously grow.
Well, that is good. That's a good answer. You should always be growing. You should always be building and building and building until your last breath. You really should. So that's a great answer. Luwi, I want to thank you. I mean, I know I am no longer in Buffalo. I am still a citizen in my heart of that area. I have, come down to Asheville, North Carolina, and I fell in love with it down here. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love it down here. Hurricanes and all. I love it down here. But I will say that all of my fondest memories and everything that I hold true and dear, and the very fabric of my being is found right where in the city that you are sitting in right now. And I'm very proud of my city. I'm proud of the people. And what I am absolutely proud of is the fact that you, Luwi, are doing something to make the city that I was born in and the city that I love, you're making it a much better place. And you're very much into the community. And like I said before, you got me on board, and whatever I can do in my capacity to help you, mentorship or anything else like that. Anything else, please, you know where to reach me. I mean, we talk to each other all the time. Luwi, it was a pleasure to have you on my program. And I'm going to have information in the podcast notes about how to help further Luwi's dream. To not, he's not in it for himself, as he said a couple times. He's in it for the better community. And, to be honest with you, everything that we can do to give the next generation. It's funny. Now we're looking at 3 generations down from Luwi. I mean, this is generations I probably will never see. I won't even be alive to see. But he's here to make sure that next generation has something to hold on to. And the city of Buffalo, there is a lot of abandoned buildings in the city of Buffalo. a lot. And, for someone like him to sit there and recognize that, and to recognize that there is an opportunity to make sure that they utilize and repurpose those buildings is a beautiful thing. We will be right back after this. Like I said, there will be information about Luwi in the podcast notes and how to help further his dream and his project. We'll be right back right after this.
Hi, my name is Erin Bleckman. I am a speaker, a certified grief educator, and the author of My Unexpected Journey, Reflections After Losing My Son to Suicide. My book chronicles the 18 months following the devastating loss of my son Max back in 2020 after his long battle with mental illness. In the book, I share what I've learned about mental illness, suicide loss, and grief. So I hope you'll check it out. It's available on both Amazon and Ingram Spark in both a print and an ebook format. Thanks.
Want a financial detective who translates your money into clear insights and understands your vision? Meet Rose Knows Bookkeeping. Free up your time and get peace of mind with accurate, up-to-date finances. Let Rose handle the numbers while you focus on success. Contact Rose Knows Bookkeeping today.
Hello, 4Ps audience. I'm here to share a book titled Stories of Children Lost. As you know, back in June of 2015, I lost my daughter, Kayla Noel Goggins. As a result, I went through the darkest time of my life. Didn't know who to talk to, didn't know what resources to find. Losing a child is a very unnatural thing. There's not a lot of resources out there to help people navigate through that time. But as time went on, I met other people who lost their children and talked to them. And actually, I joined a club I didn't want to join, but I joined this club of people who really care, who really want to help people navigate through this dark time. I decided that I wanted to put together a book with authors who've lost their child in different ways and show how they went and they were able to navigate through the darkness and live in a way that the legacy of their child lives on. This book is called, again, Stories of Children Lost. The proceeds, much of the proceeds are going towards scholarships and programs to help people in this time of loss. You can find this book on Amazon, and it's a great resource for people going through the worst time of their life. Again, the book is titled Stories of Children Lost. Find it on Amazon today.
Welcome back to the 4Ps podcast. Since I have been in higher education, I've watched young people, especially because I teach business. I will always teach business. I don't care where I am in life. I will always be an instructor, professor of business. I do love it. I do love the classroom. Always will. Doesn't matter what, what my life goes and how I go. I love working with students who have ideas. I love mentoring them through the trials and tribulations of the business world. I also love their ideas. And this is why I wanted to say I love their ideas. The younger generation, we are literally going into a new, we're going into a new era. I know I had somebody on here, his name is Keegan Schaefer. He was on this program a couple of months ago, and he was talking about how the Industrial Revolution changed the family dynamic, and the father, because he was out trying to make money, it kind of reduced his role a little bit, and it changed the role because now the mother and father, who used to be working together in tandem in the home, now are working separately with two entirely separate different roles, and it's actually changed the family dynamic. Now I'm going to tell you this. We are now in a stage through technology, through the economic systems that we are now, experiencing and building. We are now seeing a new change, and it's going to change the dynamic of society. And that is this generation. I don't know what to call it. It's obviously a technological advancements in technological age. I don't know if that's what they're going to call it in history. I don't have a name for it, and I'm really not good at naming things like that. But I will say that we have a new generation of people who have literally found new ways. And I mean, through his pop-up Enigma and what he's doing with, I have a spot, I have a building, you come to my building, and let's work together. Let's try to give you the space that you need so you can build your company and you can build your small business. And that's a great place to get started. I think he's doing it's definitely a different idea. It's an idea that I think will probably start up. It's probably with technology and all that other stuff. It's probably going to catch on, and it's something that is absolutely different. And he is definitely a pioneer in this concept, and I'm very happy to know him. He was talking a little bit about my father, and he was talking a little bit about Skateland. It's funny. He asked me a number of times, when are you going to open that place back up? And to be honest with you, I wanted to address this. I do know that there are some things going on with that building that Skateland used to be. And, there are some discouraging, disappointing things that are going on with the building. It is a place that you read about in my brother's book, Can't Hurt Me. It's a place that I have actually put in textbooks. And it is a place that I had talked about in my book, The 4 Ps of You. And I'll be talking about it again. It was and I am going to quite literally tell you, it's the reason why I exist. That building, 33 East Ferry Street, is the reason why I exist, because that's where my mother met my father. It's the reason why my brother exists. And so my existence predicates on that building. And I'm going to tell you, it's funny because, when we're talking about purpose and planning and passion and persistence, you got to keep a good balance. My father built a business, and he built a business that was just phenomenal. It was phenomenal. It's funny, you heard a hey, hey, hey in the background, and you could tell I'm a big Buffalo person. But I'll tell you, it's not because I don't want to see it back up. It's because it can't. My father's iteration of Skateland is something that can't be replicated. I can't do it, and I don't know anybody in my family who could do it. My father was he was ahead of his time, much like Louis Smith is. He's ahead of his time as well. He is building something in Buffalo, New York. And one thing that he did talk about a number of times was his influence that my father had on him. And it makes me proud that my father had that influence on him. And now, here we are 11 years after my father passed away, that there are people who really want to build and want to make Buffalo the best place it can be. And it is a great place already. The community is unbelievable. And young people like him are just going to make it so much better. It really is. He's going to make it so much better. And I'm glad that my father had an influence on him. I'm glad that him and we have become mentor, mentee. He's more like a little brother to me. He's a really good guy. He really is. And I absolutely appreciate his work. And I'm very proud of him. I'm proud of him because he is one of the leaders in the next generation of entrepreneurship. And one thing that entrepreneurs do is they think outside the box. And as older entrepreneurs, we should not discourage younger entrepreneurs for thinking outside the box. They may have the next great idea. We don't want to hinder that. We definitely want to guide it. We want to advise it based on lessons learned, that's for sure. But we never want to hinder that. And I think with what Louis Smith is thinking and what Louis Smith is doing and what the younger entrepreneurs, not only in Western New York, but throughout the world are doing, we as older entrepreneurs should be there to mentor, because you know what? We stand to benefit from it as well. We really do stand to benefit from it as well. So we want to make sure that we are encouraging those young folks to keep on doing what they're doing and do it quite well. It is Thanksgiving. It is Thanksgiving week for sure. Please make sure that during this time, If you're listening to this podcast while cooking Thanksgiving dinner or driving to your destination or flying, I don't know if you're flying because you have to use it on a phone, but I don't know. But if you are listening to this as you're going home, remember, spend it with your family. Your family is very important. They're extremely important. Spend it with them. Love them to death. And you know what? Spend time with your family, not only just on specific days like Thanksgiving and Christmas and things like that, but spend it with your family whenever you can. Those days are very precious. And as time goes on, you're going to just realize how precious they are. You guys have a great week. Next week, we're going to be kind of toning it down over the next weeks. One thing that we are going to be talking about is your health and balance and making sure you're not burning yourself out. We're getting ready. We're going into the final week of the year 2024. Can you believe that? And we want to make sure that you are definitely in the right frame of mind and you are balanced going in so you can achieve your purpose and you can renew that passion. We will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.